Just for the record, this meeting will be recorded. And go ahead, Mayor.
All right, this is a regular town council meeting, September 14th at 6:52 p.m. This is a duly called regular council meeting of the town of Anthony, Texas, posted in accordance with section 551.002 and 551.041 of the Open Meetings Act of the Texas Government Code. Public participation during the portion of the agenda for public comment is limited to that portion only, except that if a citizen's comment relate to a topic or subject covered under an agenda item, the citizen shall wait to speak until the agenda item comes up for discussion. At all other times during the council meeting, the audience shall not enter into discussion or debate on matters being considered by the presiding officer. Ms. Norma Gonzalez, can you go ahead and do a quorum check for me?
Yes, sir. Councilman Chavez?
Here.
Councilman Alfaro?
Here.
Leo.
Yeah, I'm here.
Mayor Pro Tem Weeks?
Here.
Councilman Garcia? Councilman Garcia is absent. And thank you, sir.
Did you also call Mr. Chavez?
Mr. Chavez, yes, Councilman Chavez?
I was the first one.
Yes, sir.
All right, just waiting on Henry. Basically, moving into open forum for the public, limited to 2 minutes. Ms. Gonzalez, have you had anybody contact you in regards to open forum?
No, sir, nobody contacted me for the open forum.
Okay, let the record reflect. We had nobody sign up or contact you about speaking in open forum. And then we do have Henry mentioning that he's getting the same connect message as before on trying to log into the Teams. Chief, any possible fixes?
Yes, Norma, can you send them the username and password for the police?
Yes, sir.
Meanwhile, we forward that information to Henry. Moving on, we can go. Give me 1 second, guys.
Hey, Ben,
Yes, sir.
the other thing for Henry could be that he hasn't downloaded the app to his computer. So if he's just trying to get it through his browser, that's how I always get the error message until I download the app.
Okay. I think that most of the time that is what it is.
We had a test with Henry last week and it worked. I don't know what happened this time. He already had it figured out.
Yeah, we'll look at that. But while we give him chance to log in onto that, can we go ahead and we have item 5, review and action on minutes of regular council meeting, July 13, 2020. Do you have any comments, any questions, anything about the minutes?
Move to approve.
I have a motion made by Mr. Weeks. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Chavez. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries 3-0. Moving on to item 6, review and action on minutes of regular council meeting September 26, 2019. Any questions or comments?
Move to approve.
All right, motion made by Mr. Weeks. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Chavez. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Same thing with item 7, review and action on minutes of special council meeting August 24, 2020.
Move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Alfaro. All in favor?
I'm gonna abstain because I was absent that day.
Sounds good. Motion carries 2-1 or 2-0. Moving on to discussion, considering action of the following new business, which is going to be item 8. Item 3, discussion, consideration, and action on an ordinance for 2020. No new revenue tax rate of 0.710781 with a maintenance and operation rate of 0.436103 and a debt service rate of 0.119849. As you guys know, last council meeting, Mr. Palomares is currently not on the meeting right now, or the meeting call, but basically we are looking to adopt the no new revenue tax rate, which is basically going to bring in still the same funding or no new additional funds for the town. And it's been presented, and we discussed it at the last couple meetings, and then we're discussing it again on our last budget proposal meeting. Any questions or comments?
I think Henry's just trying to log in, Mayor. I think Norma has him on the phone.
Yeah, that's what he's been kind of trying to message me too. And for the public that is watching, once again, we do apologize. This whole Microsoft Teams, WebEx, and all these different apps, one way or another, there's always somebody that's having glitches with it. So, on their behalf, I do apologize for not being able to have all these necessary individuals on the line to answer the necessary questions. There you go. Henry?
Henry, you're on mute. Henry, you're on mute.
Okay, there we go, Mayor. I could finally get on with this one that the chief sent, but I'm not sure why we're having problems with that other connection.
We are on item 3, discussion, consideration, and action on the ordinance for 2020. If you want to go ahead and add on to that, and then now that we got you back on the line, if possible, we can just give an explanation on the tax rate, on the way the no new tax revenue works, because we did have a constituent messaging and inquiring about the new tax rate, and the way the proposed tax rate was set up and the way it was named.
Okay, yes, Mayor, let me see if I understood exactly what it is you want me to indicate, but I'm gonna give you my understanding of it, okay? And then if I'm not addressing the concern, please let me know, and I'll try to address it, but just give me a second here real quick so I can pull my agenda packet up. Okay, Mayor, on the, I'm almost getting to it here. And I apologize for coming in late to this meeting, but I was tied up at another meeting for a utility client of mine. The meeting carried over, so Okay. Okay, Mayor, on this tax, there's three types of taxes, or three rates, I should say, that could be considered by the council. Okay, there's a no new revenue property tax rate. There is a voter approval rate, and there is gosh, because I'm trying to find the packet here. There we go. Okay, and so there's a proposed tax rate, which is what you all are proposing to pass, which in this case,
No, sir. They're not proposing to pass the proposed tax rate. They're gonna propose the no new revenue tax rate.
yeah, no, Norma, if you could let me explain first.
Go ahead, sir.
At the last meeting, you all had suggested a proposed tax rate, okay? And that proposed tax rate is the no new revenue tax rate, as you all may recall. You all didn't vote to approve it at that time because that was not up for adoption or consideration and action at that time. It was just a meeting where you all considered the various tax rates that you all have it at your disposal to consider for adoption. At that time, you all had suggested, okay, let's go with the no new revenue tax rate. So in this case, the proposed tax rate that you all are considering today equals the no new revenue tax rate. Okay, the two other tax rates that are before you or were before you and are before you is, along with the no new revenue tax rate, is the voter approval tax rate and the de minimis rate. Okay, the no new revenue tax rate that you all are considering and that you all proposed at the last meeting for consideration today is 0.710781 per $100 of valuation. Okay, so the voter approval tax rate is a lower amount. It's 0.571215 per $100. There's also what's a de minimis rate of 0.814319 per $100 of valuation. So that's the highest one of these three rates that you all are considering, and the highest rate is the de minimis rate. Okay, the second rate in terms of which is the highest, from highest to lowest, the de minimis rate is the highest one at 0.81. The no new revenue tax rate is at 0.71, and then the voter approval rate is the lower one of 0.57. The no new revenue tax rate it's a rate where it's not resulting in any additional revenue. Okay, it's just a rate that you need, at that rate, the city will recoup on taxes on assessed property within its boundaries. It would obtain revenue that would cover its expenses. So there's no new additional revenue being generated. That's why it's called the no new revenue tax rate. It is higher than last year's rate, if I recall correctly, and that's because obviously, there's expenses that go up, annually. So this rate, the way it was calculated so that what you recoup from what you obtain as revenue from property assessed within the boundaries of the town is going to should be enough to cover the city's expenses. Okay, the de minimis rate would have been a much higher rate, and that would have generated some revenue. So that's why they use the terminology of no new revenue tax rate. Now, the voter approval tax rate, which is a lower amount, it says that's the one at 0.57. I'm excluding the last 4 digits, okay, just to make it easier to discuss. So again, the no new revenue tax rate is 0.71 and the voter approval tax rate is 0.57. What the voter approval tax rate is a rate that if the town council adopts a rate in excess of the voter approval tax rate, then which is the case here, right? 0.71 is higher than 0.57. Then voters can petition to the town to request that the adoption of a rate be put up for a vote. Okay, so to the public, the residents of the town of Anthony could require an election on it to vote whether the town should move forward with the no new revenue tax rate or not move forward with the no new revenue tax rate. So, Mayor, I've tried to explain what the different rates are that are listed on the notice of public hearing on tax rates.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions, or if I didn't address the question that was posed by the resident, let me know, Mayor.
No, that was fine, Henry. Now, in regards to the ordinance on item 3.
In regards to the ordinance, what exactly, Mayor, on the ordinance?
Just whenever we go discussion considerations for actions on ordinances, that's your
Okay.
that's your section right there.
Yes, the ordinance, Mayor, is obviously, you all had at the last meeting, as I indicated a few minutes ago, had proposed to go with the no new revenue tax rate. Okay, so the ordinance was drafted in that regard for you all to consider and vote on and whether adopt this ordinance. So this ordinance is drafted to reflect that if you do pass adopting the no new revenue property tax rate, that's what this ordinance does. It adopts that rate of 0.710781.
Okay. Any questions from council? Any comment? Do I have a motion on the table?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a second by Councilman Alfaro. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Ms. Norma Gonzalez, motion carries.
Thank you, sir. Can I have a quorum check, please? Roll call. Mayor Pro Tem Weeks,
Yes.
Councilman Garcia, he's absent. Councilman Chavez,
Yes.
Councilman Alfaro.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
All right, moving on to item 4, discussion, consideration, and action on interlocal agreement for public health services between the city of El Paso, Texas, and the town of Anthony, Texas. As you guys know, this is a formality. They were asking for the document to be signed and submitted, I think last week, but because they didn't get it to us in time to submit for last council meeting's CAF, basically we put it on the item for today. And that's just, standard health services from Public Health Services with El Paso. Last year, it was $41,445. This year, there was a slight increase, but it's at $45,708. So just, for out of formality, we are presenting it to council for as a discussion item for action potential for approval. Any questions, any comments? Do I have a motion on the table?
Which line item is that, Ben?
Gonzalez, do you have the budget?
I'm sorry, Mr. Week, what was the question for the line item for,
Yeah,
Where
which
do we
line
have the
item
health
is?
services contract? Contract Health Department 6550.
So it's how much?
So it's 45,708. Now keep in mind, guys, right there it says 62. But remember, we have to factor in the county's animal control contract since they did separate from health services. So we are giving cushion and budgeting a little bit extra amount to cover that animal service contract too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions, comments? Do I have a motion on the table?
Move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Chavez. I have a motion made by Councilman Weeks, seconded by Councilman Chavez. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Moving on to departmental reports for streets. Ebert, you have anything to add?
I sure do, sir. As you know, they're working on still on 6th Street. They did some of the sidewalks on the intersection 6th Street and Poplar, and they're working on the north, east side and south side. They're installing those ADA ramps. And also, sir, I sent you an email on the price that I got for the signs, with including the poles, breakaways, and everything from Tri-State, so we can replace them, so we can be on DOT regulations for the school zone. And also they started to do the curb and gutter on that from 4th Street. They're going west towards 3rd Street. I know you saw that. And as a matter of fact, they're also working on base. They're putting the base, so they're gonna get the base and everything out there. Okay, for the streets.
Ebert, did you hear any follow-up from the gas company?
Not yet, sir. As a matter of fact, I spoke with Gilbert today, and we're talking about it because he did contact someone, and we are waiting for them to actually to resolve, and they can move back those meters, sir.
Thank you, sir. What's their anticipation completion time? I know they're moving forward with it pretty quick. I'm seeing the sidewalk come up a lot faster than anticipated. Is everything still on schedule probably for that 3rd week in September, or how's it looking?
With the 3rd week of September, sir, they're gonna 4th Street to 6th Street should be done, and then they're gonna focus on the rest. Just because we got back to school, just in case people, so we're focusing that section right there, so we can get everything done.
Exactly.
That's
That
gonna
was
be
one of the concerns that we did hear from the school. But I
Yes, sir.
appreciate it. Other than that, Parks and Recreation.
on the park, sir. We have the lights. Also, we contact us. I sent you forward you an email. I met with Ivan Hakis for the traffic lights. We have some lights that are gonna be out. I also give him a list for the softball field, as well as the lights for we got one out in Margarita, and the ones on Richard White, and also in the parks. So we're getting those right now. One of the crew guys we got 2 crews here in town. One of the guys that's actually out on sick leave. So we only got 1 crew going out there. So it's gonna take a week or 2.
Did you get the
For him to
email I
get-
forwarded to you that
Yes,
I
sir.
had previously emailed them?
And as a matter of fact, yes, I did, and I forwarded to him as well, sir. He's aware of the information and all that lies that you have, listed on that email. He's got them, sir. And we also actually met. He's gonna check those out, and also he's gonna have those other ones working on the intersection, Antonio and Richard White, as well as the one for the softball field as well. Okay.
Thank you, sir. And just for the
Thank you.
public, that's one of the things we want to let everybody know, because we've had individuals that have reported some of the light outages on the post. We've been submitting and sending them the information. They just, I think they've been a little backlogged and their crews have been backlogged with work. So they haven't been able to come out and address and get some of those lights fixed. But that is something that we have reached out to them already for. We're just waiting on them to take care of it. In regards to Parks and Rec also, I've had a lot of residents that were contacting me in regards to the park opening, because I guess the city of El Paso and the county, one of the things that I did want to clarify, because I did hear back from the judge's office, there's a lot of things been going on behind the scenes, I think within the county and here in town of Anthony. And he finally did have an opportunity to reach back out to me because we usually have weekly meetings. But one of the things that he did state, some of the residents have been asking that, the county's opened up and everything. I heard it straight from the judge. He said, at pretty much at this moment in time, the ordinance and the emergency declarations still stand as it was in July. So soccer fields and all that, everything is still closed to the public. So we're going to continue to follow through with that. We did open up Arroyo Park and Corporal Henry Enrique Miramontes Park. So we can allow people to use the picnic tables to exercise, the dog park. But in regards to the soccer fields, which a lot of people are specifically inquiring about, we're trying to minimize those types of mass gatherings like that. And because they're so far off and, behind and tucked out of the public eye, I mean, it would be a lot tougher to try and maintain, or make sure that people are following the orders. So for now, people can get in a little bit of soccer field practice play and stuff in the Arroyo Park, places where we see individuals playing football and stuff there. But the larger fields, the rugby, the municipal, the soccer fields and all that will remain closed. And that is per the judge's order. He did say, because we have been seeing a steady decline in the numbers, less hospitalizations, and an overall increased or lessening of the mortality rate of it. We are hoping, and he is looking to see what the numbers are going to be after Labor Day. So I think they're waiting for all those group of numbers to come out. And if it's still showing that we are in a steady decline, then at that time and moment, he might decide to roll back on some of the regulations that he's put on the park. So he may start allowing, some of the practices and stuff to start taking place. So, we're not following behind or anything like that. We're just still following in accordance with what the regulations were. So, I know there's a lot of people getting frustrated out there, but we're doing the best we can. And as soon as we can open up things, we'll get to it. I mean, I'm anxious for one as well, but, everything all in due time. In regards to police and fire, Chief?
Wet and Wild season just ended, so we didn't have no real big issues. Our crowd minimum was very, very minimal. Wet and Wild did do an outstanding job to make sure that they did have reservations set up. We have done, I guess, trace backs, if you will, or we've looked at the incidences where we have exposure, and we've had very, very limited exposure rates here in Anthony. I mean, our rates are very low compared to other parts of the city, in the county, I'm sorry. So other than that, nothing really major to report other than that, sir.
Thank you, Chief. Moving on to water sewer, Mr. Jaquez.
Yes, sir. We actually had a major problem in a sewer clock that it got all the way from starting in Washington. Actually, we were working last week on Main Street due to quite a bit of grease coming from the restaurants, from local restaurants here from Washington, and it just clogged up a line, and we spent pretty much all day trying to get that grease out of the line. And I'll send you pictures, and as you can see, we pulled out over 300 pounds of just blocks of grease from the lines. And also we continued the following day going through and cleaning out the lines again. And we were able to pull a lot more lines. And so today we actually had a problem at a plant. Some of the stuff that we couldn't catch, it went through and clogged one of our separators. So just to let you know. And I did send you some pictures on it.
And then what we could do is, Evers, like we talked with Norma and stuff last time,
Yes, sir.
because we've seen a lot. We've had a couple recent sewer clogs there off of Fresno. You know, people are just flushing
Yes,
you know,
sir.
wipes and all sorts of stuff for the restaurants that, you know, cheap. And I don't know if you've heard back from anybody from the water department or anything like that from the lower valley, Edward. But we do need to get that grease trap stuff looked at and get up an
Yes, sir.
ordinance set up here at town that gives us a little bit more teeth and ability to go and check in on how often these grease traps are getting emptied out here in Anthony, because all that grease that we got on those lines, I mean, it has to be coming from those restaurants. You know, that's not from
Exactly.
residential use. Those are from the actual restaurants, and somebody in there is dumping all that grease. And unfortunately, where they're trying to cut corners is making it hard for the other business owners, because they're getting that ugly smell coming back up into the restaurants and stuff and all the grease that they're dumping down there. So we need to establish a little bit more accountability and check these guys, because the last time we requested that the health department came in and checked with them, there were quite a few restaurants in there, not to name them, but there were quite a few that haven't had even their grease traps emptied within the past year. And depending on the amount of, you know, grease that they're filling on those traps, they should be regularly having emptied them out, you know, every 3 months, every 6 months or so. So I know one of these individuals is the one dumping all that stuff, and we're going to be looking into it. And once we find out who it is, there's definitely going to be some accountability, and we're going to be citing these individuals on site. So, you know, we're working with that. We'll get that going. Same thing for the residents. We need to ask people to stop flushing all the wipies. And what we're going to do is take pictures of all stuff we're putting out of all those lines and hand them out in a flyer to the neighboring residents around that area where the clog was at, so they can kind of firsthand see, you know, the stuff that we can't be flushing down those toilets. Other than that, that's it for me. Ms. Gonzalez, Henry, anything for court?
Mayor, on courts, I just want to report, we got there was a report that was issued by Ms. Alfaro for the court. It showed that the August revenue was $20,190.33. The warrants collected revenue was $1,271.53. The total monthly citations for August was 217 citations that were issued. There were various court hearings throughout August. There was some hearings on August the 5th, on August the 12th, and August the 19th. You know, all these were telephonic, virtual hearings, as you all are aware. Due to the pandemic, they were all a success. All cases were heard. There weren't any issues. There's some dates for September already set. Those court dates are September the 2nd, September the 9th, September the 16th. Again, due to the pandemic, those are all going to be telephonic and virtual video conference hearings. As you all are well aware, the court had changed the court dates to Wednesdays. They used to be Tuesdays and Thursdays. They're still Wednesdays. And I believe that's everything I have to report for the court. Mayor, Mayor, if you would give me a minute here really quick just to explain from earlier for me showing up late. There's been a few meetings that I've shown up a little late, but I have this utility client that I have happens to have their meetings on the same days that the town council has their meetings, except their meetings start at 5:30 p.m. and the town council meetings start at 6:30 p.m. So, you know, unfortunately, there's times where those meetings, as you all are well aware with your meetings, right? Sometimes they carry over a little bit longer. Sometimes they end sooner. So a lot of times they end sooner, and I'm able to connect on time and stuff. There's been a few times though that I haven't been able to connect because of technology issues, and I'm not sure why that's happening. We thought we had cleared it up. When the chief sent me the link, I was able to connect, but for some reason the other link I wasn't able to, although we thought we had cleared that up. But anyway, the reason I'm bringing this up is just so that you all are, all the counselors and you, Mayor, are well aware that because of juggling those two meetings that they happen to be on the same date, sometimes those meetings carry a little over. I did call Norma and gave her the heads up that may have been a possibility today. You know, wanted to give an explanation to you and to all the counselors. And that's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thanks, sir. Moving on to, for finance, pretty much as you guys know, we ended up, looking at the numbers in the budget. We did tweak some numbers, and that was basically just like I told you guys at the last meeting. We were looking at the, TML rates for the insurance. Those ended up staying, and we ended up, increasing 5% on those. So what that did, once we separated it between, water and sewer, the police department and the overall general fund, basically we had about how much, Norma? About 40 something thousand that opened up on the general fund side. And then we were short about 31,000 on the water sewer. So what we went ahead and did at that time is the money that we freed up on the general fund, we put in those 28,000 to the camera systems, for the equipment for the chief. As you guys know, he did ask for that last meeting. But at that time, we didn't have the budget available for it. Now that we kind of moved some things around, we were able to go ahead and budget this year for the equipment and the cameras for all the police units. And then whatever money was left over on the surplus, we added that into capital improvements for the general fund. In regards to the water and sewer, to make up that $31,000 deficit, what we did is, since we did create that line item for capital improvements, we did go ahead and take about 21,000 from the capital improvements line item, and we moved that, to to balance it out. And then also on the what was it called? The contingency, water and sewer contingency is 60,000. We took 10,000 from that and dropped it back down to 50,000 to go ahead and even everything out. So everything's pretty much balanced out with both budgets. But just so you guys know, on the general fund, we were given the opportunity or the idea or the recommendation to look at increasing the overall water revenue. But what we did is we're still taking a conservative approach, because with all this COVID stuff, we want to make sure that the revenue is there. So we didn't want to budget for anything higher than what we knew we would make. So what we figured is keep it conservative on the income revenue wise for water. That way, if at the end of the year we pull in more than what was budgeted, that's still a win-win situation, and we're able to maintain the budget and balance it out through other means. And like I said, the capital improvements and the contingency were the easiest ones, because 50,000, and we didn't originally budget for capital improvements. And now that we're setting that up, everything is pretty much balanced out.
Ben, what line item is the scanners on for the police?
We put that onto the equipment line item on the general fund, and it was the police cameras, right, Chief?
So 7210.
Yes, sir, I believe that was a line item 7210. It was in the 70s. And yes, sir, it is for the cameras.
That's for 7, right?
Yes, sir, it's for 7 cameras.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments on the finance aspect? As you guys know, Peña and these guys are still working on 1920. So, things are moving forward with the audits. I'm pretty happy with, what's happening and what they're coming up with once, personally, I ended up taking over with the administration. So, I'm looking forward to when all that stuff's going to get presented. Other than that, moving on to administration, I don't have anything to add. I'm still waiting, to set up and get back going with the meetings with the county judge, so we can look at, what's going on with COVID, how the numbers after Labor Day look, and what we're going to be doing moving forward here with the town and with our overall parks in regards to the direction with the regulations. I have seen some residents comment on the town page in regards to, why the employees aren't wearing masks in here. Because of the fact, for one, there is limited activity with them and the public. We have 2 windows. They're separated pretty much by a wall, and we regularly screen our employees for fevers and any potential COVID symptoms. That's why they don't wear masks here in particular. But anytime there's anybody coming out to engage with a resident, masks are required. But in regards to residents coming in, we don't screen you guys. We don't take your temps. We don't take nothing. So that's why we're requesting that when you come into our building, you wear a mask. But in regards to our guys, we take all the time and do our due diligence in screening our employees to make sure that we are maintaining a friendly and healthy work environment. Other than that, next regular council meeting is scheduled at 6:30 p.m. on Monday, September 28th, 2020. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Ben, real quick, I just want to remind everyone, I'm not going to be at the next meeting. And we have to have all three there to do it. Okay.
Also, Mayor, if I might say something,
Yes, sir.
we were forgetting about the pit stations on the Wildcat.
Oh yeah, that's right. As everybody knows, we did have a post. I did share it on my personal page. We did put up the town guys did put up the trash receptacles for the pet waste all along Wildcat on both sides, all the way up to the Best Western. So now we should have no excuses on any of the dog droppings to be left there. And we are asking that all residents that are pet owners and utilize the walking trail, that they be responsible and utilize the receptacles to pick up after their pets after they do their business. All right. Anything else? All right. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Chavez, seconded by Councilman Weeks. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The meeting is adjourned at 7:33 p.m. Thank you guys, and you all have a great day.